All right, well, we'll get started. Good morning, everybody. My name's Ken Shaw. I guess good afternoon if you're joining us from the East Coast or perhaps somewhere else in the world. Welcome to our ongoing series of webinars we do here for existing partners and for prospective partners of SOS. I'm Ken Shaw, the CEO of the company. And today we'll be going through pretty much everything involved in becoming an SOS partner. So we'll look at the SOS as a company, our history, a brief look at the traditional backup technologies in the backup industry and the changes we've seen as a lot of the backup load is moving to the cloud. We'll look at the SOS technology stack and then the partnership model, so how you can join us as a partner, what the requirements are, and what our partnership program is all about. Then there'll be a Q&A at the end. The audience for today's presentation is really IT resellers, so MSPs, VARs, IT service providers, anybody who's interested in adding online backup or cloud-based backup to their existing product or service line. We'll be doing a Q&A at the end, but we actually find that the best way to get the most out of these presentations is for you to ask questions throughout the presentation. So please do ask questions or post comments. Some of you have already used that functionality within the GoToWebinar software, which is terrific. And I'd encourage everybody to list out what issues or questions or topics you'd like to hear addressed today. So starting from right now, you can, if you let us know what you're interested in hearing about, we can try and make sure we tailor the presentation to your interests. All right, well, let's dive in. So in terms of who SOS is, as our name suggests, SOS Online Backup, we're a company focused almost exclusively on the online backup space and have been for nearly a decade now. Founded originally in 2001 back in Australia, but we're now a global firm with headquarters in the United States and operations in the US and Europe and Asia. Our claim to fame in the space is that we've always attempted to lead the technology development of the modern online backup industry. So we've tried to pioneer functionality, and we've tried to help shape the industry, and we have in fact done that. We win a lot of awards for our product and for our technology, including PC Magazine Editor's Choice Award, which we're very proud of. We've been the PC Mag Editor's Choice Award winner for 5 years running. But we get a lot of attention from lots of sources, including recently the New York Times recommended us as one of their favorite solutions in the space. The other thing that sets us apart is that our focus is almost exclusively the channel and partners. We're an online backup platform, and really the only platform play in the space. What I mean by that is that our primary focus is looking after our thousands of partners around the world and bringing new people into our partnership network and selling through those IT partners of ours to their customers. We've got more than 150 employees around the globe, and in terms of just scale and volume, we've had more than 3 million customers over the 10 years we've been in business, and we've been tripling. We've tripled since 2009 in terms of overall enterprise size, which isn't really a comment about us. It's more a comment about our partners, because our partners are enjoying fantastic growth and fantastic success, and we only succeed if our partners succeed. In terms of where we focus our product and our capabilities as a firm, we're very much focused on small to medium business. We do dip down into the consumer space, and we've got quite a popular home user solution which you can sell, and we've got some enterprise solutions which you can sell as well, but our sweet spot is really the small business space. So if you sell to small businesses, then this is an excellent solution for you and your customers. And then this slide really encapsulates what it is that we're all about. We take, so on the left, as denoted by the storage module and our logo, we take SOS's global infrastructure grid, our software, all of our sales and marketing know-how. We then run that through the filter of your business to fully brand a product so you can sell your own fully white-labeled product to help you position and price and productize a solution for your customers, with the end goal being for you to drive additional incremental high-margin recurring revenue from your customer base by selling backup as a managed solution or a standalone backup offering. Here on the screen we've got several examples of the type of white labeling we do, and we'll see more of this later in the presentation. But generally anything you see from SOS in SOS's name can be rebranded to your name. So just picking on some audience members, we can have Robert Moffat Online Backup, Frank White Online Backup. We can have that ready next week for you to be selling to your customers. And when I say next week, I do genuinely mean next week. We can have you in the market with a fully branded solution, usually in about a week, depending upon your requirements. So just looking at the backup market as it stands, which I think is important to understand where we are now, I think it's useful to look briefly at where we have been as an industry. If we look at the world through these three lenses: consumer, small business, and enterprise. In the consumer space, I think we all know there really hasn't been a standard for backup. Consumers are terrible at backing up. They don't usually understand it. They're usually very lax when it comes to performing backup. So generally, consumer backup is a greenfields opportunity, and consumers are moving in droves to cloud computing in general, but specifically to cloud backup. In the small business space, you've got a very different situation. Generally, businesses do backup. They have some sort of backup solution in place. It's probably inferior, but there is some sort of DR solution in place typically. That solution is more often than not based around tape, or in some cases disk. And tape has really been the predominant technology for backup in the SMB space for the last 20 years, although we're seeing a rapid shift in that now. Backup in this space has usually been a three-part play, usually based around some hardware, some software, and then a very heavy labor component. When I mean labor, I'm talking about the time and effort required to deploy the solution, the time and effort required to run the solution, and then massive time and energy requirements associated with actually doing recoveries. Anybody who's ever had to recover an environment from a series of tapes knows what I'm talking about. It's certainly not an ideal situation. It's very expensive in terms of time and human capital. In the enterprise space, you've got a similar architecture, so it's still generally a hardware, software, labor play. There's typically, more often than not, there is an internal IT department in the enterprise space, so they would often be doing that. So in terms of you, the IT resellers, you're probably selling consulting services and then the hardware and the software. So there's very similar sales approach when you're selling online backup to the high end of small business as there is in the enterprise. It's all about providing a better backup at a better price. So turn now to look at what the space looks like when we're selling online backup or cloud-based backup. We still have all those same constituent components of software, hardware, services, and support, but we wrap it all up in a software as a service offering that you can sell to your customers on a monthly or annual subscription. That helps them because it lowers their capital expenditure for the solution, and it helps you because it gives you ongoing annual revenues. There's some data here that shows these next two slides are focused on the transition we're seeing away from tape and disk to the cloud. So tape sales have shrunk from 2.5 billion to 1.5 billion in the last 18 months. And in a recent survey of Fortune 1000 CTOs and CIOs, I think it's quite telling. More than 70% of those surveyed indicated they were planning on moving all or part of their backup load to the cloud. So we're seeing a sea change in the industry where people are finally embracing public and private cloud backup solutions. And actually there's a great quote from one of our partners. Greg said, if we don't sell our customers a cloud-based solution, somebody else is going to, so why not us? And that's really the fundamental premise of today's presentation. You have captive customers. You have customers that are already paying you for goods and services. Those customers are, in all likelihood, going to be using cloud-based backup. So you have an opportunity to capture that business and for them to be purchasing that online backup through you. And if you don't sell it to them, then they're going to go and get it from somebody else. So I challenge you being the members of the audience today, as to why not you? Why shouldn't you capture that revenue for your business rather than let it go somewhere else? In terms of just briefly looking at the cost metrics, typically online backup's less than half the cost of a similar tape or hardware-based backup solution. So in this particular scenario, this comes from a customer of one of our partners who came across to our platform. In this case, you can see the year one cost was $6,100 for the tape solution versus $1,000 for the cloud solution. And over a 5-year period, $9,100 for the tape solution and roughly $5,000 for the backup solution. What's important to note, though, is that the margin to the partner was actually better on online backup. So although the sale price was, in fact, a lot lower for the customer, the partner still made more money by selling online backup. With online backup, the partner's takes roughly $2,500, whereas on the hardware solution, the partner's commission was only going to be at $482. So online backup represents a much lower total cost of ownership for your customers with a much better backup service and represents a much better margin for you, the middleman. In terms of the superiority of the technology, I'm not sure what level of knowledge we've got in the audience about online backup. But just briefly, these are the different perspectives that we use when we compare hardware backup to online backup. So deployment is much easier. Coverage is universal with online backup. Those of you who've deployed tape and disk solutions know that they're very difficult to use to back up laptops which are roaming in and out of the network, branch offices, or any sort of distributed user data. Whereas with online backup, all devices that have an internet connection are covered. So every device is connected to the backup cloud. There is no media, so with traditional backup there's usually media to be carried off-site, which is cumbersome and time-consuming and frankly dangerous in terms of potential data loss. Most of the most embarrassing data loss incidents in the last 5 years involved misplaced backup tapes. With online backup there is no media. Recovery with hardware backup is very slow and cumbersome. It can take days and days to bring back an environment from a tape-based solution. With online backup, recovering is instantaneous. It can be done by the users themselves. It doesn't need to go through central IT. It's quick.